Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So let's continue. Okay, so for this one, so I've already teach you about how to use variables, how to assign a variable, right? Uh, this time around, let's proceed to the different data types, right? But before I proceed to that one, you might be wondering when I told you that, okay, this one will work without even using a print ln, right? So it's actually the same. So it's actually the same. This both will actually return the same, right? But when can we use, like, for example, print ln? Because for this one we have one cell and it only contains one code, so you don't have to have a print ln actually, because as you can see, we can actually do it without even putting a print ln, right? At least for this, for a Google notebook or for a Jupyter notebook. So the thing is, if I have something like this one, yeah, type of x, but if I have it here and then I run it, it will actually only print the type of y. It will not print the type of x, which is this one. So as you can see, it will only print the last code, the output of the last code. And so if I want to have to print the output of this one as well, I can actually simply put that print ln, and so that will work, right? So as you can see here, it's now showing this one, which is in 64, and this one, which is the output of this one. So yeah, as you can see, there's a use. You can actually use print ln for such situations. Anyways, now let's continue with the data types. So as I told you before, there are different data types in Julia, and the purpose of these data types is that the operations that you're going to do depends on the input that you're going to provide as to what type of input that you're going to provide, right? So I've shown you earlier that if you have a number and a text, or an integer or a float, which is a number, and a text, which is a string, you cannot add the two if you want to do some plus operation, right? If you are going to do some plus operation or basic arithmetic operations, you have a different types, and so Julia cannot add the two numbers. And so it's important for us to understand this concept of types, right? And there are many types in Julia, and in fact you can create your own actually. So for this one, we have a float and an integer, right? So if an integer, if you remember your algebra, it simply refers to a whole number that can take also negative values. And for float, this refers to actually a real numbers which can take decimal points, for example, such as this one, right? And also negative and positive values. And those are the two different types of numbers in Julia. And then the other value, or the other type in Julia, is what we call Boolean, which can take a true and also a false. So by the way, if you see like a hashtag or a number sign, that's actually a comment, meaning to say, so this is a comment. So Julia will actually not put any error in here, so it will not actually throw an error. It's just a comment. Also, the other point that I'd like to highlight as well is that spacing is ignored also in Julia, so you can have something like that, right, or something like that. Okay, so it's not required. Now, if I print all of the values, or at least the type of these variables, because we have this variable, integer, we assign it to this one, and then we print the different types of these variables. You can see here we have integer, float, and bool, short for boolean, and string. So boolean is, later you will see, right? You will see what's the purpose of this. For now, you just have to remember that we have different types, right? And the basic types that you have here, these are integer, float, and also a boolean. A boolean can only accept two values, true or false. And then we also have a string, right? And actually there's also character var, which is like, for example, so we have a here, small a, which is actually a character. So if I say type of character, there you go, and I run that, as you can see here, the last one here, it printed the output of this one, which is char, which is a short for character, right? So this print, first print, this is the output of that one. The second print here, this is the output of that one. So as you can see that we have five print ln here, or print line, and so we have 5 outputs in here. So you might be wondering, what do I mean by print ln here? So there are actually two types of print in Julia. One is something like this one. So if I actually use print, so let me just, so there's also a function for print, but the problem with print is that it does not skip into the next line. So as you can, I run that, as you can see, so this is the first print, the output of the first print, and then this is the output of the second print. As you can see, there's no next line after every output. So that's the purpose of, that's the difference of it with a print ln or print line, which will actually give you a space after that so that you can actually enumerate, right? So there you go. So that's the different data types. Now let's proceed to the arithmetic operators. So for arithmetic operators, let me just put a time for us. Okay, for arithmetic operators, we have here, it can do, so I told you before that Julia can, you can think of it like a calculator. So obviously it can do basic arithmetic operations as well. So for example, here we assign a variable a equals 10, and we assign a variable b equals 5, and so a plus b, that would be 15, right? So if I run this, that's the output, right? A plus b would be 15 because a is 10, plus b, which is 5, that would be 15. A minus b, that would be 10 minus 5, which is 5. A times b, that would be 10 times 5, that would be 50, right? And then a divided by b, that would be 10 divided by 5, that would be 2, which is this one. And then this one is a modulo, meaning to say, if I divide a over b, what's the remainder of that one? So in this case, because they are divisible, right, there's no remainder, right? So it's actually 0. And you can search about this modulus if you want to learn more, right? But that's simply a, what is this? It computes the remainder, right? Now let's proceed to comparison operators. Maybe I'll stop there. We can proceed on the next video, inshallah.